Hi guys, James at Rampant Lion Reviews again for you today with another beer review. For this one we are going to head over the water to Denmark once again, and we're going to do another review from a brewery who you've seen me make quite a few videos for over the last little while. This is one of the beers that they sent me, in fact. So we're going to go to Indslev Bryggeri once again, who are from the island of Fyn in Denmark, and we're going to have a taste of another beer from the Ugly Duck range that they do. So this one is the Miami Vice. It's a pale ale and it comes in at 4.7%, so it should be a pretty nice one actually. I've seen it's quite highly rated at about 80 on Rate Beer, so it should be a very nice beer. But I quite like the Ugly Duck beers. They're sort of a good way to describe this brewery, if you like, is probably to say that they're a kind of old school American style brewery, if you like. There are other beers. The Indslev ones, of course, are specialist wheat beers, but the Ugly Duck beers are sort of like old school American craft ales. So they're very, very nice, and I have enjoyed the beers that they've sent me. So a big thank you once again to Mike and Anders for sending me these beers to review for you. But anyway, as is usual with my beer reviews then, I'll tell you a little bit about the brewery. If you do want to get straight to the tasting, just fast forward. All the usual websites are in the video description below. That's the brewery website, the link to my other reviews that I've done both from Indslev and from the Ugly Duck range, and there's all the usual social media, Facebook, Twitter and Untappd. Please follow me on there. Your support would be much appreciated, and if you do want to get in touch, please do let me know some Danish beers and breweries that you'd like me to have a look at, and I will apologise in advance for any bad Danish pronunciations in this video. I'm still getting used to Swedish, of course, since I moved here to London. Danish is a little bit harder than that, I would say. But anyway, to tell you a bit about the Ugly Duck Brewing Company. So as I've told you many a time, Ugly Duck Brewing is one of the brands of beer that are produced by Indslev Bryggeri, who are based in Nørre, Aaby, near Middelfart on the island of Fyn in Denmark. If you go to the island that is next to Sjælland, where Copenhagen is, that is at the island of Fyn, and Middelfart is in the northwestern part of the island, quite close to the Danish mainland actually. But the Indslev Bryggeri has roots that trace back to the year 1897, but they reopened as a modern brewery in 2006, and since 2012 they've also been brewing these Ugly Duck beers as well. But the brewery is owned by Anders Rasmussen, whose great-grandfather Frederick built the brewery back in 1897, and both of them actually grew up on this family farm right next to the brewery. This is quite common actually, to have breweries on family farms in Scandinavia. But Indslev are quite interesting because these guys were the first modern brewery in Denmark that specialised in the brewing of wheat beer, and they remain the only Danish brewery to do this today. But their desire to brew different beers was what led them to actually found the Ugly Duck Brewing Company as a sidearm to the Indslev Bryggeri. And the wheat beers that you get from Indslev are very, very nice. You've seen me review a couple of those for you as well. But the two brewers at the brewery are Stefan Peter Stadler, who is from Munich, and he graduated from the Hofbräu School, very prestigious institution of course, and he's worked for various German and Danish breweries. And there's also Torben Steenholt, who previously worked for Velia and for Brockhaus Brewery as well. And the brewery building has been modernised and is equipped with a Kasper Schultz brew kit from Bamberg in Germany. So a very, very good brewery. As I said, they're American style beers. The Ugly Duck ones are quite old school and they're really quite nice. I've enjoyed reviewing these ones for you. There will be two more of these come up over the next little while. One special beer and one that I'm just saving for a special date. But the Indslev beers are very, very good as well. They've got quite a big range of these beers, but just to list the Ugly Duck beers for you, there's the Imperial Vanilla Coffee Porter, which is beautiful, Hoppy Christmas, Rye Porter, which they did send me, but unfortunately the bottle smashed, and that was my own fault. But there's the Helmuth Keller beer, the Miami Vice, this guy here, Simcoe and Chinook IPA, Putin, which you'll see me review at some point too, Nelson Pale Ale, Ugly Christmas, Hop Devil, which is good too, Foxy Brown, which is really nice, Pabst in the Tropics, and the Amarillo and Citra IPA. So there's a good range of these beers. As I say, go and check out the brewery website and you can see all the different ones they do, and I would recommend that you try some of the Indslev Bryggeri beers as well. The wheat beers are very smooth and really quite nice actually. So just to read out the blurb on the back of this one, so it says Miami Vice, Crockett and Tubbs were to the drug world of Miami the same as the hops in this beer, a means to balance things out. In the beer's case, the fresh citrusy hop balance out the grains and give you a sense of calm, a sense of what pale ale used to be under the sun of good times and careless days. This is a tribute to the series that ran from 1984 to 1990, and what can we say about Miami Vice that hasn't already been said, except that it's the greatest TV show ever made in the history of television. Bit debatable that, I mean Breaking Bad, Sons of Anarchy, but I guess this is a little bit before my time, but it should be a very nice beer. I'll just let you have a little look at the artwork on this one before we open it up. Just check that you're seeing that. You can see it there. It's got the is that a Lamborghini? I'm not too good with cars. It's either a Lamborghini or Ferrari that's on the front there. and it looks really quite nice. You can see the Ugly Duck Brewing Company symbol, plain bottle cap on this one. At the back, as you can see, tells you all the stuff. It is in English for this one. The other ones, the Indslev ones, are in Danish, which I struggle to read incidentally. But yeah, 4.7% pale ale. The hops in this one are, I do have them in my notes here, it's hopped with Cascade, Citra and Mosaic, and it has a malt base of pale ale and caramel, so it should be a very nice beer. So without further ado then, let's get this guy open and we'll get on with the tasting here. So yeah, pardon me, as you can see, a nice smoky opening with this beer. So we'll get it out and into the glass. People have been asking me a little bit what my favourite beer that I've tried from Ugly Duck has been so far out of the ones that Mike and Anders sent me, and that's actually very difficult because the standard of the beer that they're producing is very, very good. The double IPA that I tried that had the cars on it as well, I forget the name of it, but it was really quite nice, and the Citra and Amarillo one was nice too. These guys are very good at IPAs, but the Imperial Vanilla Coffee Porter was also nice too, and I've heard that the Putin is very good also, so I'm looking forward to reviewing that one for you. And I do have another one of the special beers too, but generally these guys are a very good brewer, and I would say to you, if you want to try their beer, just pick out a style that you like and no doubt you will enjoy it. But anyway, as you can see, this beer is poured a really nice kind of hazy orange amber. I'll just check that you're seeing this on the camera too. But as you can see, very nicely done. It's, if you put it up to the light, it becomes a bit brighter. It's a kind of blood orange colour, I guess you could say. There was about a half finger of a frothy, creamy beige coloured head there, but it's probably more creamy, but there is a slight beige tint to it. That's fading away to be a very thin foamy there just now. You can see there is a degree of transparency if I put my fingers behind it, but overall the beer is quite opaque. There's some big bubbles sticking towards the side of the glass and quite a few little ones just going up towards the bottom of the head there. Overall, it looks a very, very nice beer. So let's have a look at the aroma of this one before we get stuck into it. Now, one thing I'll say about this beer, the thing I'm noticing about it is that it does actually have, for a pale ale, it actually does have quite a strong aroma. It does. I would mistake, if I was blind smelling this, I would mistake this for an IPA, because it does have really quite a strong aroma. The hops in this are a lot more prominent than you would expect from a pale ale, I would say. Normally I'd expect more of a malty character, but this one actually really does smell like, you know, a 6 or 7% IPA rather than a 4.7% pale ale. Of course, it's the malt to hops ratios that define these different styles. But yeah, it's really quite an interesting one, this. If you sugar it up a little bit more, you start to get more of the malty character. It smells nice and caramelly, good bit of biscuit, that kind of sweet, almost digestive biscuit character coming out of this one. And there's definitely a bready component to the malt base there. But there's definite fruit in here as well. You can smell the citra hop coming out. There's a little bit of gooseberry in there. You can smell a little bit of the limey character as well that comes with the citra. Definite grapefruit as well. That's the Cascade, and you can smell some of the earthiness that you expect from the Mosaic as well. Especially when you sugar it up, that mixes in quite well with these biscuity and caramel notes that come out of this one. You can really smell that quite sweet, earthy character that comes out of this beer. There's a nice bit of floral aromaticity and grassy character to it as well. The fruits are quite subdued, and it does become more malty when you start to sugar it up like this. But when you let it settle, as I said, it is more fruity. The fruits come out. They're nice kind of grapefruit from the Cascade, but then you can pick up the more complex notes of the citra. There's a bit of peaches, maybe just a little bit of apricot, something like that. You can smell the sort of dusty peachy note in there. But there is a bit of lime and a bit of gooseberry. I like the gooseberry element that you get to the citra hop. But all of the hops are representing themselves quite well, so it has everything you expect to the style. But to me, as I said, it really smells like it's a bit hoppier and a bit more alcoholic than it is. It smells more like an IPA than a pale ale, I would say. But yeah, as I always say, take a little bit of time to smell your beers before you get stuck into them. But we're going to try this guy now. So this is the Miami Vice 4.7% Pale Ale from Ugly Duck Brewing Company at Indslev Bryggeri in Nørre, Aaby, Fyn, Denmark. Skål. Oh yeah, definitely when you taste this, the first thing you're gonna say, it smells like an IPA, but definitely a pale ale. Very, very light, and you can just tell the malt to hops ratios. It's got just a nice kind of sprinkling of bitterness to it, but it does lean more towards the malty side, I would say. As I always say though, sugar the beer around your mouth a little bit. and just let your palate adjust fully to this one. But yeah, that's really nice actually. I mean, the pale ale is something I've started to get a bit more into recently. Obviously, most of the time if I had the choice I would go for an IPA, but I do have to admit I love Imperial beers as well, Imperial Reds and double IPAs. I'd rather drink, you know, one of those than drink 3 IPAs. That's just the way I like to drink. I like the big boozy beers. But the pale ale I've found a lot of nice pale ales recently from Sweden and from Denmark. They seem to have the style quite well here. They've nailed it quite well. But this is another really nice and drinkable beer from Indslev Bryggeri. So the middle of your palate with this one, it's just blanketed with a nice, quite light bready character. And when it's got the Pilsner malt and the caramel in there, you can just taste that German sort of pale malt going across the middle of the tongue. There's a bit of a biscuity character that sits in the middle and a bit of richer caramel there that goes right down the middle of the tongue. But you can feel those elements just building on top of it. But the malt base, I would say, is actually quite similar to a German Pils, which is quite interesting. But there's a bit more hoppy and fruity character to this one than you would expect of the Pils style. But yeah, at the back edges of the palate you can detect a little bit of earthy character. That's probably why they've chosen the mosaic actually. It does give you, it almost comes across like a bit of a German noble character. It's very smooth but it's not too pungent, I would say. As you come further forward you start to get more of the floral aromatic character that you would expect from all of these hops. The Citra, the Cascade and the Mosaic all have a bit of floral aromaticity to them. You can feel that just on the front corners of the palate there, and as you go round the front curve of the tongue there's a nice smooth grassiness to this one as well. It's very nicely done. The flavours all blend together really quite well. And there is a good little bit of fruitiness there, but it does lean more towards the floral aromatic side of things than the fruity side of beers, and that tends to be what you get with a pale ale. It doesn't have quite the same oily character as an IPA. But yeah, it's quite nice. In terms of the fruitiness of this beer, there is a little bit of grapefruit. It's more of a light kind of juicy smattering of grapefruit. I'm using Scottish words again, sorry, I shouldn't say smattering. It's just a light kind of dash of grapefruit. And you can taste that just kind of underpinning that little oily bubble behind the front of the tongue. But there's quite a bit of these sort of more appley flavours, if you like, that come from the Citra hop. It's more like a little bit of lychees, a little bit of sort of limey character, some gooseberries. I think the gooseberries in this one are quite prominent. And it's just those lighter kind of hoppy flavours that mix quite well with the grassy element of the hop. So at the front of the palate there, you've got quite an interesting flavour combination going on. But it is very, very nice. But yeah, the main point about this beer, it's a light and quite sessionable beer at 4.7%. I'm not sure if that's getting towards the top end for a pale ale, if you like. The IPAs usually come in at about 6% plus, but I have seen IPAs a bit lighter than that. But the main thing is, this is a nice, good, hoppy, sessionable beer. As I always say, the Ugly Duck beers remind me of more old school American beers, and this one is no exception to that. It's very nicely done. And if you're in the mood for an IPA but you want something a little bit lighter, I would say then go for this. But again, that is the definition of a pale ale. But it's another very, very solid beer from Ugly Duck Brewing Company. Very, very nicely done again. And the use of the Citra hop in here is actually quite good. I think it's to me, this one comes across as having a nice bit of a German Pils character to it, both from the malt base and from the use of that mosaic hop in here. It's really quite nicely done, and the Citra as well gives you that impression too. So if you like German Pils beers and you want to get into something a bit hoppier, then this one could be for you as well. But in terms of the mouthfeel, I would say this is light to mid-bodied. Carbonation is very smooth, which is what you would expect from Ugly Duck Brewing Company. And it's a little bit oily too. There's a bit of fruity, juicy character. The malt base has a bit of sweetness. There's a bit of graininess to it as well. The hops are a bit dry, but they do smooth out into the aftertaste, and the lingering thing here in this beer, there's a nice smooth earthy character in the back corner of the palate. That's what's really sitting there, and the hops do become very smooth around the front too. But overall, this is another very, very nice beer. So another thumbs up again to Ugly Duck Brewing Company. Go and check out their stuff. As I say, if you like the Pilsner style of beer, but you want something a little bit more hoppy, this could be a very good beer for you. I'm finding a lot of those nice German Pils flavours in here, the earthy hop character, just a little bit of that grassy floralness, and the use of the Citra hop is very nice as well. So do check this beer out, and go and check out my other Ugly Duck reviews as well. As I said, if you pick a style of beer from this brewery, you no doubt will enjoy it, because they produce some really nice stuff. If you like wheat beers as well, go and try some of the Indslev Bryggeri things. But yeah, as always, I hope you've enjoyed this beer review. It's been really cool to do another one from Ugly Duck Brewing Company. I've got 2 more of their beers to review and 1 more Indslev one, so keep an eye out for those. Thank you again for watching my beer reviews. Let me know your own thoughts on this beer in the comment section below. Thank you again for watching, and please like, subscribe, share, all the usual YouTube stuff. Go and check out my social media things, but most importantly, go and check out the Indslev Bryggeri beers and their Ugly Duck Brewing Company range as well. Thanks again for watching, and I will catch you soon. Many more Danish beer reviews coming up. Cheers.